Thank you so much, everybody, for being here tonight. My name is Stefan Legault, and I have the privilege of serving as the president of the Banff-Kananaskis Constituency Association and as the chair of the nomination committee. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you tonight, and those of you at home. Thank you so much for making the time for this. Thanks again for voting. We had an amazing turnout. Absolutely fantastic, an overwhelming show of support from the residents of Banff-Kananaskis to select their next candidate for the NDP, and hopefully, with a little hard work, our next MLA. Absolutely. Friends, I want to thank a bunch of folks before we get going. People who've been involved in this process, who've worked really hard over the last number of months. Believe it or not, we've been at this for 18 months now, looking for the perfect candidate to represent the good people of Banff-Kananaskis. Leslie Bannister and Jim Ridley have been a part of that. Jim's been our fundraising chair. He's been drumming up the cash to run this campaign, and Leslie Bannister has been helping out as our balloting chair, making sure the count goes well, which has been absolutely fantastic. Sarah Hoffman, who some of you would have seen earlier, and Cam Westhead have been involved with that process as well. Of course, we've got Dave Egan here tonight, who's going to kick us off with amazing comments from the caucus of the NDP. Now, she's not in the room, but everybody knows that Sharon McDonald's presence is felt extremely large in this constituency. And quite frankly, I don't know how we could do this without her. When she told us that she was moving to Nova Scotia, I think my heart stopped beating for a short period of time, and then she said, oh, I'll still be involved, and we were like, okay, there is some hope. We've had some phenomenal support from our provincial party. So Garrett, Ryan, Chris, and Rachel have been here today helping us out, and over the last number of days. We had great coordinators. We had 4 polling stations because it's really important to realize how big this riding is. And we wanted to be able to reach out to people throughout the riding. Norling Thomas was our Springbank coordinator. Marcella Campbell was our Bragg Creek coordinator. Kathy Harrop was our coordinator here in Canmore, and Jeffrey Carpenter was our Banff coordinator. So thank you to all 4 of them. And then those of you who have been able to partake in some chow tonight and cold drinks and whatnot, Margaret Moore-Bell and Samantha Bell-Moore have been our helpers on the ground, making sure that all the logistics go smoothly. So friends, we're going to get right to it here tonight. I want to launch into our keynote speaker to welcome us to the next election campaign. So David Egan is David Egan. God, even though I drew an egg next to his name, like I drew an egg next to his name and I still got it wrong. Can you believe this? So David Egan is an MLA from Edmonton. He was a cabinet minister in the last government, but most significantly, I learned earlier today that he is the reason that Sharon McDonald got involved with the Banff-Kananaskis Constituency Association, and if for no other reason than that, please give David a warm round of applause.
Well, thank you, Stefan, and thanks to everyone who's here this evening. When you go to a nomination meeting, you're not quite sure what to expect, and so when I saw this room filling here today, and then plus everyone who is watching on the live stream Facebook, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, but from our New Democrat caucus as well. It's been mentioned here before, but I will say it again even more emphatically, that Banff-Kananaskis is absolutely key for us to form a New Democrat government in this next provincial election.
Yeah.
It comes with a great deal of pride. I think all of you can feel that for sure, but also a great deal of responsibility as well. What I've witnessed over the last 3 years with this UCP government is undoubtedly the most corrupt and incompetent government that I have ever seen in my lifetime, both professionally and just as a resident of Alberta. It's absolutely shameful what we see going on in the legislature from day to day. When I had a chance to volunteer to speak here today, I jumped at the chance because I do love Canmore, but also to get away from those UCP legislators in Edmonton. Quite frankly, the antics that you see on media, on television, in the newspaper, is just a fraction of the combination of arrogance and incompetence that this UCP government has exhibited over the last 3 years. It just simply has to stop for the sake of our families, for the sake of our children, for the sake of the future of the province. We need Banff-Kananaskis to hold the key to change this government for something that we can be proud of here in the province of Alberta. So that's what I'm here for us to do today. This is the beginning, although I can see that you've done a lot of the work over a great deal of months and years as well. Cam Westhead has done a fantastic job, and I can see Marguerite here as well, who was absolutely integral for him to be making a very, very strong representation for this area over the last 3 years. And I'll take some credit for Cam as well. I was touring around as an MLA on a committee, and people were making presentations on pensions around the province. And so when we rolled into Calgary, there was Cam Westhead just absolutely leaving everything on the floor as a passionate representation for the integrity of pensions in the province of Alberta. Good for him. But even better for us, I went up to him afterwards and said, "You want to run for office?" And he did. It was kind of like that, America's Got Talent thing. We got to watch all these people make a speech, and I said, Cam, you got the right stuff. And he really did. And I know he's continuing on. Yeah, he's continuing on with that as a part of the executive for the United Nurses of Alberta. So, I talked about competence, but as well, I would like to talk about leadership and about trust as well. And part of what we are absolutely responsible for as MLAs and cabinet ministers and the premier of the province is to ensure that we have the trust of the people in which we are governing. It's a democratic process. It's not a dictatorship. It's a trust that is born from elections, but every single action that you take every single day. And if I can say, again, one thing on the negative, I don't like to be too negative, is that this UCP government has broken that covenant of trust with the people of Alberta. But you know what, who has not done so, who has governed very effectively for a 4-year period and is ready and poised, very bravely I might add, to come back and to do it again? It's Rachel Notley. We all know we're in different ways and different levels, and I can't, disclose some of the ways in which I, are on a very, working on a conversational level. It's like, the old social adage about sausage making and all that kind of thing behind the scenes. But what I can, tell and share with you is just how honored and how driven Rachel is at this juncture to make sure that we get this job done. In 2015, we did a fantastic job, and Albertans were looking for change, and we accomplished that change and formed a majority government, the first progressive government in the history of the province of Alberta, and the first change from a conservative government in more than 44 years. That was great. This time, in 2022 or 2023, we have the chance to do that again through each and every constituency around this province, including Banff-Kananaskis. Not just putting a name on a ballot, but making sure that we earn the trust of voters in each and every corner of this province, across this province in the next few months. And we can do that here in Banff-Kananaskis, and we can do it right across Alberta as well. There's a great appetite for change, and I think that we can be a part of it here. It's a very interesting juncture in our history because, of course, we saw a radical swing in our budget fortunes in just 1 year. We went from a significant deficit to a surplus budget in just 1 year. Why did they do that? The UCP will say, well, it's all their great policies. I mean, as Shannon Phillips pointed out in estimates last week or 2 weeks ago, a pylon probably could have budgeted that it would balance the budget in this last fiscal year. The price of energy went up. The price of energy went up significantly, and that's how they managed to do it. Just pass me that water. So, while we have $100 oil and increased gas prices, the UCP still is persistent and moving on with continued cuts to our public service and to the public trust that all of us expect from Alberta's government. I was just talking to Marguerite before I came up here and learned that, for example, here in the Bow Valley, with the primary care network of Bow Valley, there's 23 family doctors in the valley. No one is accepting patients anymore throughout the Bow Valley. I mean, that's absolutely absurd. I know there's lots of doctors in the valley, and I know that there's lots of people that are willing to do that work. The UCP has deliberately sabotaged our public health system in just 3 years. It's absolutely unconscionable. Well, we see the same thing in education. I'm the advanced education critic for the official opposition in the legislature, and the attack that we saw on post-secondaries, on universities and colleges and polytechnics is absolutely unprecedented in the history of this province from this UCP government. At the same time that they're bringing in record revenues from oil and gas, at the same time when we have so much opportunity and possibility, the youngest population in Canada, the very best educated population post-secondary wise in Canada. Those are assets that we have, but those are assets that we can lose very, very quickly. If young people cannot see a future in this place, they will choose to leave. If people are not seeing a future in this province, they will not choose to move here. All of these things we can turn, but we have to turn them together. That's why elections like in Banff-Kananaskis are so important, and why whoever is chosen as our candidate here this evening has both a very strong sense of pride, but a very strong sense of responsibility of what comes next. On behalf of our caucus, on behalf of Rachel Notley, I thank you for all of the work that you've done, and there's a high expectation for the work that you must do here in the coming weeks and months. It's very unstable right now. I can tell you, I've seen Ralph Klein and everyone after that in the legislature, and I've never seen the situation more unstable, right? You see the leadership review, you see other candidates, you see MLAs literally bad-mouthing the premier right in the paper, or right there in the legislature even, you know? I mean, that kind of thing just really makes me concerned. Not that I'm concerned that the UCP is unraveling, but they are in charge right now, and you need that some level of responsibility to make those decisions as we need them to happen. So what a better time than for the for the NDP to rise up and take over that mantle of responsibility, to reassure people that there is something hopeful and optimistic for the future. We can do that here in Banff-Kananaskis, and we can do it right across the province when we win in 2023. On behalf of Rachel Notley and the NDP, I thank you, and good luck for each of the candidates.
Thank you so much, David. That was rousing, and I think it would be pretty easy to go on for quite a long time about the malfeasance that the UCP government has inflicted upon the people of Alberta for the last 3 years. But we're not going to do that. No. We're looking forward. We're looking to the future, and to help us get a handle on what that future for this riding might look like, I'd like to ask Leslie Bannister, who's been our balloting chair, to take the mic and share with you the good news for the evening.
Hi guys, thanks for coming out tonight. I'll keep it short and snappy. We had 254 people show up to vote in Banff-Kananaskis. It was an incredibly competitive competition between the 4 candidates, which is why it took us so long to count. However, I would like to say we have a clear result, and the next candidate for Banff-Kananaskis is Sarah. Please join us.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for coming out tonight. And I just need to take a breath a little. Thank you so much for coming this evening to celebrate what I'm sure will be the start of amazing things for the Banff-Kananaskis riding. Thank you, Cam, for creating such humongous shoes to fill, and also just for being with us this evening. Sarah and David, your kind words have inspired me, as usual. I'd like to especially thank Stefan and Aurora and Leslie and Jim and Sharon and the many volunteers of the Banff-Kananaskis Constituency Association. You are the foundation of this riding, and we will win the next provincial election in large part because of your dedicated efforts. It's funny standing up here tonight because a part of me feels a little sad. I have really enjoyed getting to know Gavin and Mark and Tanya, and I really want to thank them. We're so fortunate to have your support in this riding, and it has been an honor and privilege to campaign alongside you. Competition is often a driver to success, and each of you have inspired me and drove me during this campaign, so thank you for that. The Banff-Kananaskis riding has been my home for 15 years, but like many of you, it was my playground first. Every day I wake up feeling fortunate to live, work, and play here. Even though it was the stunning landscape that drew me here, it is the community that keeps me here. Our communities, although diverse, are filled with people who love it here, who are passionate about this place, and who want to work together to make Banff-Kananaskis the best it can be. We are characterized by a strong sense of community. In the floods of 2013, I was filled with pride and love to witness our residents support total strangers and to help those who were experiencing unimaginable loss. I love seeing how quickly we come together to support a local business impacted by unforeseen circumstances. Our farmers' markets are filled with the best honey, jewelry, produce, spice mixes, food, and art that I have ever seen. I am inspired and filled with admiration when I see our community coming together to not just talk about truth and reconciliation, but to work with our Indigenous community members to live it. Our whole riding is filled with people who love this land, their community, and each other. We are stronger together, we are insanely resilient, and we will continue to demonstrate these values to all other Albertans as they visit our riding. I know that this community is special to so many of you, and I know that this community can thrive under a government led by Rachel Notley and Alberta's NDP. It's clear that we have faced many challenges over the last couple of years. The choices made by the current UCP government in their handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, environmental issues, and much-needed social programs has made life very difficult for us in Banff-Kananaskis and for all Albertans. Many of us are still feeling the effects from decisions made by the UCP. We deserve better. Albertans deserve better. In the past year, I've met with many of you to discuss many different things, and I've heard that you care about climate change and want to see more action at the provincial level. You've made it pretty clear you're against coal mining on the eastern slopes and value communities that can coexist with wildlife. Like so many Albertans, you're also concerned about the rising cost of living. Affordability is an issue for every single person in our riding. You're concerned about the cuts to healthcare and the new education curriculum and what that means for your children. There is no doubt that we have a lot of work to do, but I have also heard from you that you're keen for change, that you're interested in working together to create the future that we want to see, one where our children are educated with methods that are progressive and proven effective, one where our natural landscape continues to provide clean water, wildlife habitat, and recreational opportunities, a future where our local businesses are free to explore and define unique niches in our creative communities filled with people who exemplify initiative. We are communities that welcome Albertans and international travelers and show them what regenerative tourism is and how to leave our communities even better than how they found them. Our future is also one where social programs support our mental, physical, and emotional health so that we can continue to live exuberant, fulfilling lives. The UCP government is not moving us towards that future. Under the UCP government, Albertans are paying more in school fees, more post-secondary tuition, more camping fees, more insurance, more utility bills, and more taxes. All the while, oil prices are high. It's clear that Albertans cannot trust the UCP, and I echo Dave's comment that trust is the foundation of all of this for me. Since forming government, the UCP have spent their time fighting amongst themselves, fighting doctors and nurses, fighting teachers, and even their own municipal partners. And that kind of divisiveness does not serve Alberta. It's not leadership. We know that we have a trusted leader in Rachel Notley. She leads with compassion, with competence, and she cares about our families. The NDP will work to ensure internet connectivity across Alberta, something that if you participated in any of our forums, you know is a real thing. They're going to bring $10 a day childcare to you sooner, and we're going to help ensure our eastern slopes are legislatively protected from coal mining. Rachel and Alberta's NDP have spent their time as the official opposition listening to what's important to Albertans and understand the pressure families are under as bills pile up every month. Alberta's NDP understands the importance of diversifying our economy to ensure families can get ahead while we face a changing world stage. Alberta's NDP understands the importance of our public healthcare system and the importance of keeping it public. Alberta's NDP have your health as their top priority and will make sure that your family can get to a doctor when you need care, that there'll be a doctor taking new patients when you need care, and that there will be an ambulance and space in a hospital if you need it. And Alberta's NDP understands the importance of our children's education and have committed to immediately reverse the changes of the K-6 curriculum being imposed on Albertans by the UCP. Rachel Notley has committed that within 100 days of being elected, an NDP government will launch broad, inclusive public consultations that includes experts, parents, academics, active teachers, and Indigenous leaders to ensure a strong curriculum for Alberta's kids. I believe that we can help our communities thrive under the NDP, and I trust the NDP to make a brighter future for the province that leaves no Albertan behind. That is why I am pleased to seek election as your next MLA for Banff-Kananaskis with Alberta's NDP. I will ensure this community has a strong voice in the legislature, and I will work to ensure our communities will have access to quality healthcare, long-term job growth, opportunities for our children, and that we are a leader in environmental stewardship, and to ensure affordability for households with a competent government steering the ship. We have our work cut out for us, but when I look out and see all your smiling faces, I know that we will get there because we will work together. I have learned throughout my career that greatness is never achieved because of I, it's only achieved because of we. Let's do this together. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you to everybody on the Facebook live stream for tuning in, and thanks to everybody here in the room tonight. Mwah.
Watching. Alberta's NDP is working hard to build Alberta's future and to build a future that involves all Albertans. The momentum is building. If you want to be part of it, join us at albertasndp.ca.
Bye.